Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my channel. I wish everyone, my Muslim brother and sisters, Ramadan Mubarak. We are entering the 10 days of Ramadan, which is a very important moment for all of us as we are getting more and more like focused on our ibadah and also getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today is June the 5th, which also falls as the World Environmental Day. So I'm going to talk about today, what is the Islamic teaching on protecting the environment? So let us see if I could share my slides. Let's see. All right, so let's see. So this year's World Environmental Day's theme is to beat plastic pollution. As we know, plastics is all over the world. Our plastic waste is everywhere. In the ocean, that all the fish and others sea creatures eating our pieces of plastics, but also in our landfill. So this is very concerning and also very scary if you think about it, that we have mountains and mountains of plastics. So, but as we can see also that most of the world population since 2008 has been living in the cities, in the urban area. So more and more people since 10 years ago have lived in the cities. So this is very concerning because as we know that people in the cities usually consume resources, but they don't produce resources. What I mean is natural resources. And also they create waste, and usually they just put it in a landfill or dump it in the ocean. And that's very concerning. So we need to be very cautious in today's time, in our lifetimes, that most of us live in the urban area, in the cities, that we are actually affecting the environment. And what it's called affecting the environment is also called ecological footprints. What is ecological footprints? So let me talk a little bit about that. So every human activity, from farming to construction, or even to check your email, affects the environment. So the scientists call it ecological footprint, and they measure it in global hectares, or GHA, as you can see here. And so the ecological footprint is the land that needs to provide resources for human activities, as well as to absorb their waste. So the more resources a person or a society consume, then the larger its ecological footprint. So as you can see in this slide, in these pictures, by country, we have China, that has the largest ecological footprint in the world, by having 5 global hectares, while followed by the United States and India. But you can see on the bottom is ecological footprint by people, by a person. So Luxembourg is the highest in the world as of today, whereas followed by Qatar and Australia. So if you live in those countries, you have to be cautious, whether it's by country or by person, that you have ecological footprint, a high ecological footprint, because ecological footprint is a measure of human demand on Earth's ecosystem. So whatever activity we do, we always have an impact to the environment, and as long as we have it balanced, that's fine. But unfortunately in today's society, we don't have it in balance. So we'll see here that our ecological footprint, this is the data in 2013 by the Living Planet report of World Wildlife Fund, WWF, that in global in a global measure, if we live the way we do our activities right now, we actually have like we need like 1.5 Earths as of today. And if we keep doing it the way we do today and don't make any changes or any improvement and don't even care about our environment, then, you know, in the future, we're going to need 3 Earths. In this data is by 2050. But do we have 3 Earths? We don't even have 1.5 Earths. We only have one Earth, our one and our common homes together. So we better take care of it. As in Islam, we know in the Quran, Allah says that the servant of the most merciful are those who walk upon the earth gently. And when the ignorant address them harshly, they say words of peace. This is from Surah Al-Furqan, the 25th chapter of the Quran, on verse 63. So walking gently on earth or walking on earth gently, what does it mean? That means that we step or we step our footprints on the people before us. So not to make any damage. So for example, if you walk in the woods or on the grass, you walk on the footprints that somebody else has already walked before. So the pathway that they already made, like built in for you, instead of trying to walk on a different pathway and then you're ended up destroying other grass or other woods, you know. So that's one of the understanding of walking on earth gently. I call this ayat as the synthesis of ecological footprints, the explanation from the Quran that we need to have very low ecological footprint while we live on this earth, that we're not going to destroy the earth. So we're not going to make any pollution or destruction or waste anywhere. Because why? The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah has made this earth green and beautiful, and He appointed us as the stewards. So that means we are the caretaker, we are the manager, we are the one who's actually protecting the earth, not the one who destroying the earth. So I want all of us to reflect upon this, especially in the last 10 days of Ramadan. So in this Ramadan, actually, I'm running the campaign on Green Ramadans, trying to greening our Ramadan by, first of all, like consuming local food. Why do we need to consume local food? Why is it like so important? Because, you know, like most food, especially for us who live in the city, it travels so far in order to come to our homes. You know, or to grocery stores, and then we purchase it from the grocery store. So that's like, you know, most food travels in the average of 1200 to 2200 miles, which is, you know, using, you know, like a lot of fossil fuels, like as we still use fossil fuels. So you can imagine how much is, you know, like the emission, the carbon emission that is produced from that. So then, you know, as much as possible, please use the, you know, consume local food and purchase food from local produce. So another thing is, you know, like a lot of food out there is junk food. So like we have to be very cautious. Try to eat like more healthy food, like fruits and vegetable, and try to reduce our meat consumption, because apparently, based on the study, that the production of meat to come to our home, to our table, to our plates, use more energy, like more fossil fuel energy, and therefore produce more carbon emission. While fruits and vegetables like plant-based is less carbon use less fossil fuels and carbon emissions. They would therefore produce less carbon emissions. So please try in this Ramadan to consume more vegetable and less meat. I am right now committing and also embracing the Meatless Ramadan, which is a campaign run by the Green Ramadan Facebook page. So you can also see how I'm struggling with that throughout this Ramadan. Another thing is food waste. During Ramadan, actually, we have a lot of food during iftars, and there's a lot of waste. I saw that in the communal iftars in the masajid, that people just take a lot of food and in their plates, and then they couldn't finish it, and they just throw it away to the garbage bin. That is, astaghfirullah, that's not good, because we're not supposed to waste any food, because the Prophet also said as a sunnah that, our stomach, we have 1/3 of our stomach is for food, 1/3 for water, and 1/3 for air. So we cannot, we're not supposed to fill all our stomach, because we're been fasting the whole day, to actually get all just consume the food. But so please be cautious. It's also make it hard when you're have a full stomach to make tarawih at night. And if you have a leftover, please bring it home so you can have it for sahur, or also you can share it, the leftover iftar, to those the needy or the homeless around your area. So please be cautious about that, because lots of food being wasted every year. And this is the data on 2011, that 1.3 billion tons of food were lost or wasted annually. And actually, if we combine together all those waste food, we can feed the world hunger. So imagine, and this goes both in the developed world as well as developing world. It's just different way how the food being wasted, but both, region, if you like to see it that way, they all over the world there is food waste, and the waste, and then but we have world hunger also. So this is as a Muslim, we have to be cautious on that, because in Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will ask us about this. And this is the ayat actually talking about waste in Surah Al-Isra, ayat 27, that mentioned that the mubazzirun, which is the wasters, are the brethren of shaitan. And we don't want to be the brethren of shaitan, right? So then, please be very cautious during Ramadan, during iftar. Make sure that you don't waste food. But not only food, most of us are still using single-use cutlery or plates or cups that we throw away afterwards. And also the water bottles that we use, bottled waters to break our fast. And this is very concerning, trying to bring your own water bottles. Because why? Because these water bottles, the plastic water bottle, ended up in the landfill. Some of them can be recycled, but a lot of them also are not recycled and ended up in the landfill. And that's going to damage our environment. And in this data, you see that in the US is the largest water bottle consumer in the world. So if you live in the United States like me, we need to be very cautious. Bring your water bottle everywhere and just fill out the water in the bottle. like this one, like please, eliminate the use of water bottles and bring your own water bottles, because before you do anything and everything, please rethink, is my action going to have an impact, a negative impact to things around me, or the environment around me, or the people around me, or and how much is that going to impact my surrounding, and also not just your surrounding, because sometimes this waste is being transported or exported to other countries, other poorer countries, and then they have to live with that, with all the waste. So try to rethink, and then if you cannot, if you have to do something, try to reduce the usage of plastics. And if and then if you have to get something, try to reuse it, get something, purchase something that can be reused. And if lastly, the last default is recycling, to recycle things. So don't go straight on the recycle, but please rethink first, and then reduce, reuse, and recycle. And this is another very important thing, like styrofoam. I see a lot of styrofoams being used in masajid for iftar, which is unbelievable, because styrofoam is not biodegradable. So they're going to stay there, on this earth, most likely in the landfill, and it's going to stay there forever. Even after we die, after we are disintegrate to on this earth, on the ground, our styrofoam is still there. We don't want to leave styrofoam, after we leave this earth, because we want to leave this earth with the three things that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Your the righteous children, your amal jariyah, and then also your the knowledge that you share to others. So we don't want styrofoam, and so try to bring your own for iftar, if you go to the masjid for iftar, and or suggest to the masjid, if they provide you with the single use, change it to the paper base plates, cups, and but I suggested something that is washable is even better. And another thing very important is composting. Whatever is the leftover, you have something that is leftover, or a peeling of some fruits or something, do have a composting bin in the masjid. I don't really see this a lot. So every waste is going to the garbage, and then organic waste is actually produce methane gas, which is more dangerous even from the carbon the carbon emission. So please be cautious of that. And another thing that we need to pay attention during this Ramadan is to conserve our electricity, our energy usage, to be efficient, and to turn off appliances, turn off the lights, AC, or heater if you're living in the southern hemisphere right now and you're having still winter time. So please be cautious, not to waste energy. And also that when you charging your gadget, usually you just keep the plug on, and then you just unplug your device, and then but the plug is still on the socket on the wall. That is actually waste of energy. So please, when you're done of any activity with your appliances or your gadget, please unplug it, because then you're not wasting energy. And for my fellows who live in Muslim fellows who live in the United States, we have to be very cautious on the energy use, because the US population is only 5%, about 5% in the world, but we consume almost 25% of the world's energy. So please please turn off things that you are done or you don't use. And another, speaking about energy, another thing that is important is trying to transform our lives to non-fossil fuel, but to renewable energy. So even if you cannot, have like a solar panel, for example, in your house or in your masjid, please, have a discussion during Ramadan, because this is more clean energy, not giving any, burden to the earth. I just put my solar panels in my house just recently, so I'm very happy that I can walk the talk now. That I'm not like using the fossil fuel to support my electricity. So then if even if you cannot do it at the moment, please have it in have it as a discussion, and also try to explore in any programs in your region, in your area. Sometimes government or businesses have programs of renewable energy around the world, because this is the energy that for the future, that we are going to clean and renewable energy for the future, that fossil fuels is a yesterday thing. So please like take some time during this Ramadan to reflect on that. And lastly, but not not the least, is transportation, because like we are like mobile people nowadays. You travel a lot. I travel a lot for my work, but like this Ramadan's try to like think about like how we use transportation, be smart of it. If there's public transportation in your area, please take the public transportation, or if you have to drive, then do carpooling. And if it's possible to do like like bicycling in your area, then do bicycling. So like having like bike to school. Well, school is probably almost over in many parts of the world right now, but like you can bike to mosque, bike to the masjid, or bike to work if that's possible. But if not, then use public transport, or like carpooling, if you have to use your car. So make sure that you reduce your ecological footprint during this Ramadan, because this is very important, because it's just a spiritual moment when you are like like conscious that you are actually reducing your carbon footprint. You are actually taking yourself closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by minding his creation, that like also like we are conscious about our environment and the natural things that Allah created for us. So I'm going to close now. But this is a reminder that that Allah has appointed us as the Khalifah upon this earth. So please reflect on that, and like recite this in the Quran about the Khalifah, and read about it, study the tafsir. So then make sure that after this Ramadan we are becoming like a good Khalifah upon this earth. And don't forget to follow us in the social media. We have Instagram, Muslim Climate, or in Twitter, also Muslim Climate, and also our Facebook page is Global Muslim Climate Network. So I'm Nana Fairman from, I'm the coordinator of and the co-founder of Global Muslim Climate Network. I'm also the Muslim outreach coordinator for Green Faith, which is an interfaith organization for environment. And please check out our new campaign on sustainable living initiatives. It's called Living the Change, and this is the link, the web link of that campaign, livingthechange.net. We have so many incredible tips and also stories from people, like from people of different faiths, on how they struggle and how they try to live in a sustainable way. So I hope you can enjoy your last 10 days of Ramadan and get a lot of barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And May Allah protect us from the hellfire, inshallah. Amin, amin. So, barakallahu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.